There was a bright pink notice slapped right across my front door like it had something to prove, eviction, written in thick black marker, underlined 3 times like I was some squatter who'd overstayed his welcome. And just a few steps away, Monica Sharp stood at the edge of my driveway, filming it all with her phone like she was a wildlife expert who just captured a rare predator. Her tiny white dog barked from her purse like it had a badge too, and her grin? Let's just say it looked like Christmas morning came early for her. She shouted something about another HOA rule breaker being dealt with and turned back to her camera with the energy of a small-town dictator drunk on power. What Monica didn't know, and honestly, this is what made the whole thing so fun, was that I'm not just a tenant. I'm Daniel Reyes, State Director of Housing and Urban Oversight, the guy who literally helped write the regulations Monica loves to misquote. And I'd been living in her little HOA kingdom undercover for exactly 2 weeks. Let me back up a sec. We'd gotten dozens of complaints about Ridgewood Meadows residents being fined for wind chimes, sidewalk chalk, even door wreaths that were out of season. One woman said she got a warning for her porch light being too warm. I mean, seriously? It sounded like fiction. But the numbers didn't lie, and neither did the fear in people's voices. So, I got approval for an undercover placement, signed a lease under my middle name, kept a low profile, and started observing. But I didn't stay low for long. Monica found me on day 3. I was planting sunflowers in the strip next to my driveway when I heard a cough, not a casual one, but that purposeful, I want your attention kind of cough, and there she was. Arms crossed, sunglasses perched like a crown, scanning me like I'd just triggered an airport alarm. She didn't say hi. She just said, "That's not allowed." I asked, "What's not allowed?" And she pointed at my sunflowers like they were contraband. Section 4.2b. No vertical growth exceeding 24 inches without approval. Then she pulled out a laminated rulebook from her tote like it was scripture. I smiled, said, "Thanks for the heads up," and went right back to planting. Over the next few days, she ramped up fast, 4 citations in 1 week. My porch light was non-compliant. My daughter's sidewalk art was labeled graffiti. She even fined me for audible disruption from my wind chimes. But what hit hardest was the day she marched over, bucket in hand, and scrubbed my daughter's chalk rainbow off the driveway while yelling about early discipline. My kid just stood there, holding the pink chalk, tears streaming down her face. And Monica? She told her, "Rules matter, even for children." That was the turning point. I stopped watching and started recording. Neighbors started showing up quietly, cautiously. One man said he'd been fined for having an American flag. A mom told me Monica threatened her with a lien over toys left on her lawn. An older couple said they were written up for leaving a cane rack on their porch. It wasn't just overreach, it was personal, targeted, mean-spirited. And everyone was too afraid to speak up. Then came the eviction notice. It didn't even faze me. I peeled it off gently, added it to my file, and watched Monica on my security camera, posing next to it like she'd just won a war. I zoomed in on her name tag, printed a screenshot, and dropped a letter in her mailbox that night. Official letterhead. Short and simple. This property is under state observation. Interference may result in formal disciplinary action. Refer to Housing Code H.D.402. The next morning, Monica was pacing her porch like it was a war room. Her phone was glued to her ear, her face looked pale, and that little dog was doing laps around her ankles. I waved. She didn't wave back. That day, I got another violation, this time for tool storage in a manner suggesting weaponization. I actually laughed. I framed that one. And then at the grocery store, a neighbor, Mr. Lind, a retired contractor, leaned in and whispered, "You with the state?" I just smiled. He nodded and said, "About damn time someone did something." That night, I submitted my first full report. Videos, photos, citations, community complaints. I flagged it urgent. I didn't expect fireworks overnight, but I knew the fuse was lit. Then Monica showed up again. At dawn. With a crowd. 2 HOA volunteers flanked her, one holding a clipboard, the other a yardstick. They started measuring my mailbox. Monica barked, "This is 2 inches too tall. Violation." Then pointed at my driveway. "And that chalk dinosaur is back again. You were warned." I looked at her, then at the dinosaur my daughter had drawn the night before, smiling up at me with a pink bow. I said nothing. I just let the cameras roll. Later that afternoon, I got a community-wide email from Monica's subject line, "Community Emergency Notice." It accused me of being a dangerous squatter manipulating state documents. She included a blurry photo of my truck, said I was hiding illegal pets, and warned neighbors to stay clear or risk fines. At that point, I knew I needed a new move, one that couldn't be twisted. So I filed a formal state request for all HOA bylaws, meeting minutes, and financial records from the last 5 years. Sent it certified. 2 days later, she opened it on camera. My neighbor caught it flailing her arms like she'd been handed a court summons, which, honestly, she kind of had. She called an emergency board meeting that night, tried to pass a motion to expel me for hostile infiltration. 2 board members finally pushed back. She stormed out. The next morning, my tires were slashed. I reported it, of course. Got a tow. But it wasn't about the tires. It was about her losing control. Then the state audit team showed up. Quiet, professional, no fanfare. Just 3 cars, 3 clipboards, and a whole lot of questions. They walked into the HOA office where Monica stood waiting, lipstick bright and blazer too tight. She tried to play it cool, but when they handed her the file, she froze. They spent the day going through receipts, wellness funds spent at spas, community resources redirected to a landscaping company owned by her cousin, security upgrades with no documentation. One auditor found a P.O. box in her name linked to 4 phantom committees. And just when you thought it couldn't get wilder, Monica live-streamed from my lawn that night yelling about deep state takeovers and chalk propaganda. She kicked over one of my daughter's flower pots. The chat lit up. One viewer commented, "Karen, you're spiraling." The board held another vote. This time it stuck. Monica was suspended. Permanently. 2 days later, the police escorted her off HOA property. No screaming, no clipboard, just stunned silence. For the first time, Monica Sharp looked powerless. After that, everything changed. Kids filled the sidewalks with chalk. Neighbors brought lemonade instead of complaints. Someone even drew a mural of a broken toilet and wrote Queen Monica's throne underneath it. No one erased it. At the next board meeting, held under an oak tree, they asked me to speak. I told them who I was, why I'd come, what I saw, and how proud I was not of the audit but of them, for standing up, together, when it mattered most. Monica hasn't been seen since, but her shadow still lingers in every broken rule that finally got torn down, and every neighbor who now dares to speak up. So what do you think? Was this justice? Or just another battle in a bigger war over power, control, and what it means to live in a community? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your side. There was a bright pink notice slapped right across my front door like it had something to prove, eviction, written in thick black marker, underlined 3 times like I was some squatter who'd overstayed his welcome. And just a few steps away, Monica Sharp stood at the edge of my driveway, filming it all with her phone like she was a wildlife expert who just captured a rare predator. Her tiny white dog barked from her purse like it had a badge too, and her grin? Let's just say it looked like Christmas morning came early for her. She shouted something about another HOA rule breaker being dealt with, and turned back to her camera with the energy of a small-town dictator drunk on power. What Monica didn't know, and honestly, this is what made the whole thing so fun, was that I'm not just a tenant. I'm Daniel Reyes, State Director of Housing and Urban Oversight, the guy who literally helped write the regulations Monica loves to misquote. And I'd been living in her little HOA kingdom undercover for exactly 2 weeks. Let me back up a sec. We'd gotten dozens of complaints about Ridgewood Meadows residents being fined for wind chimes, sidewalk chalk, even door reeds that were out of season. One woman said she got a warning for her porch light being too warm. I mean, seriously? It sounded like fiction. But the numbers didn't lie.